The season of 1967-68 will always be remembered as the year Cheshire United reached the final of the Amateur Cup. The season of 1992-93 has also become a marker in the club's history, for this is the season Cheshire United won the Diodora League Premier Championship. We kick off then with the FA Cup third round qualifying home tie against Barkhamsted. Captain Steve Bateman performing the formalities. Following an early throw, the ball is delivered neatly into the box, producing a determined save, followed up by Chris Townsend, a true poacher's goal. A through ball by Costa eventually finds York, who follows up the loose ball, giving the keeper no chance. Berkhamsted's cup dreams are fading. In the second half, Barry Rake was bundled to the ground, and Lee Costa accepted the responsibility of the stop kick. This made the score 3-0 to Chesham on the day. Back to the league, and Meadow Park played host to Stevenage Borough. Gary Attrell said, "Thank you very much to this one," seizing onto a fatal header which set the scene for what was to follow. Soon after, the nightmares were to continue with an own goal, much to the delight of the 700 Chesham fans. Buoyant Chesham were taking command. Attrell, after beating his man, delivered the perfect ball across goal for Bashir to score. Stevenage replied with a rare attack, but it was to provide only a small respite from the incoming tide. Steve Bateman made it 4 shortly afterwards. Sometimes, well, it never rains but it pours. Andy York calls in the embarrassment. The crowd were beginning to warm to what was becoming a party night, with Bateman leading the way to Chesham's 6th and his 2nd of the night. Typically, Attrell on the left set up Townsend to draw the night to a close. The final score, Chesham United 7, Stevenage Borough 1. Ten days later, it was Kingstonian who took up the challenge. The game here turned out to be a much tighter affair. John Richardson beat the offside trap and took Route 1 to goal and opened the scoring with a fine solo effort. The near 1,000 strong crowd, perhaps expecting another rout, witnessed a more workmanlike performance, which brought further reward in the second half. A searing run from Attrell set up the pass for Richardson to add the finishing touch. Later, from a set piece, it was Kingstonian who forced their way back into the match, with a little assistance from Andy Lomas. Despite this, Chesham kept their grip on the match, sealing another victory, one of 5 straight league wins in October. Carshalton, emerging as possible contenders for the title, were next in line to experience the Chesham machine in full motion. Even so, any assistance is greatly appreciated. The long-awaited visit of local rivals St Albans was never going to be quite as easy. This top-of-the-table clash drew the largest gate of the season thus far. Delighted, they saw Bashir's effort helped on its way with a wonderful stooping header from Steve Bateman, who was clearly fired up for the battle ahead. And battle it was, the equaliser coming soon after, a looping header beating Lomas's despairing hand. With more misery to come as the visitors took the lead later in the second half, sending their travelling support into frenzy. Were Chesham finally to be topped? The answer came from a corner in the closing stages of the game. Chris Townsend meeting the ball at the far post, saving local pride and an all-important goal. The warning shots, though, had been fired. St Albans a force to be reckoned with. On a cold first Tuesday night in December, the FA Trophy fixture against Leicester United gave the crowd plenty to warm to. 10 goals were served up in a display of Chesham United at their most merciless. Dalber played the ball inside for Abadawali to take on the heart of the defence. His shot was blocked before an exhibition of clinical finishing saw the ball in the roof of the net. Soon after it was 2. Townsend set free with a long ball on the right, looked up for support and chose the more direct route. Defiant Leicester pushed forward, trying to make the most of the elements, being forced out wide by Andy York. The ball eventually breaking free in the area. A sloppy goal to concede, leaving the Chesham defence static. The reply came from a patient build-up, initiated by Attrell's throw on the left. A series of fine passing moves, orchestrated and initiated by Adebawali, led to Mark Dalber thumping home the advantage with contempt, making the score 3-1. Not giving the Leicester midfield time to settle, Steve Bateman headed through to Townsend, who beat his man and teammate to the ball to fire in his second and Chesham's fourth. Five goals at half-time, and the crowd might have wondered just how many the final total might be. They weren't waiting long for the next. Adebawali flighted the ball to Townsend, and confusion between goalkeeper and defender left Townsend with the ball and his hat-trick. Chesham were now turning on the style. Attrell delivering to Bashir on the far post, only to find the goal credited to Adebawali following up on the line. It was all becoming far too easy, and Leicester were now dealing in consolations only. After a sound build-up, this strong challenge on Davies allowed the Leicester forward to slot the ball past Andy Lomas. But hang on, there was another to lift the spirits. quality lofted header made the score a little more respectable for the visitors. But despite all their efforts, there was only to be one winner. Breaking from defence, the ball eventually found its way through to Lee Costa, who made no mistake past the grounded keeper, making it a grand total of 7 to Leicester's 3. As Christmas loomed on the horizon, Grays Athletic were the next opponents in the league. Floating in mid-table, they came to Meadow Park as underdogs, United having established themselves in the top flight. However, it was the team in yellow that took the lead early in the first half, with a cool finish that stunned the home support. Not to be outdone, Chesham forced the visitors into some rather sloppy defending until Gary Attrell delivered the telling cross. This was nodded home by Michael Bantam past the outstretched hand of the keeper. The resulting collision left the number 9 in need of attention. There was more pressure to come as Lee Costa's direct and determined run led to a desperate challenge from behind. After catching his breath, Costa finally stepped up to convert the spot kick with some assurance. 2-1 at half-time, and it must have seemed as though all was going to script. But Grays won a free kick, which tempted the keeper. The resulting melee of bodies failed to clear the ball, and with Lomas stranded, the ball was poked home for the equaliser. Celebrations, it seems, come in all forms nowadays, some more accurate than others. The final word, though, was with this glorious strike from Gary Attrell, a fitting match winner by anyone's standards. 3-2 and Chesham march on. A few days after Christmas and Harrow were the visitors. Chesham had won the previous meeting 3-0. An expectant holiday crowd of 1,512 came in through the turnstiles, only to see their team crushed by 2 surprise first-half goals. The defence, it seems, still in the grip of a holiday season hangover. The situation looked black as well as the lighting, and a cavalry charge started late in the game with Townsend and Post igniting the crowd. It was soon to become the great escape, as the high ball into the box was nodded down to the feet of Banton to coolly walk the ball into the net before the ecstatic Chesham fans. Into the new year, and Wivenhoe were the opponents. A fine team goal coming up, highlighting how incisive passing and movement off the ball can leave opponents looking on. The move started with Lomas. The ball pushed through the middle is laid on by Richardson to Townsend, who finishes with ease. Football in its purest and most direct form. The reply after half-time was just as direct, if a little less elegant. The goalkeeper committed, the ball bouncing off the head of a bemused Andy Adibawali to be turned into an unguarded net. As if to better their first, stroking the ball about, Chesham searched ardently for the winner in the latter stages of the game, and it came as a result of another majestic move, capped with a delightfully weighted pass from Attrell, searching out the head of Townsend, who doesn't miss those. The second of the match for Chris Townsend, bringing his tally up to 23 league and cup goals. As the title chase was beginning to take shape, Chesham, as holders, were drawn at home to Newbury Town in the first round of the Berks and Bucks Cup. In confident mood, Chesham were on a roll, 6 points clear at the top of the table. They hadn't lost since the opening game of the season. They were helped on their way to retaining the trophy by goalkeeper Goddard's misfortune in the first half, leaving Townsend the simplest of tasks. Newbury, currently lying in 7th place in the Deodora League Division 2, searched valiantly for an opening, given an account of themselves way beyond their league standing. But Chesham were not handing away honours lightly, giving little away in the form of opportunities. When the second goal came, it was that man Townsend again, this time beating the defender for pace and stroking the ball home. However, Newbury did cause a stir. After winning possession on the edge of their own box, the long ball was played forward. A rare slip by Steve Bateman, letting in substitute Brendan Rogers, who let fly a remarkable effort that dipped viciously over Martin Bagley. 2-1 in the final score. In the end, a comfortable victory for Chesham.
Bartlett with the free kick then for Dover. Coming up to 10 minutes of this first half gone. Inside for Corey Brown. The shot coming in the end, it hit the post from Colin Bluden. It was in fact a superb save by Andy Lomas. Here it comes. Let's go up, it's off the line, is it? It's there! And Darren Coleman got the vital touch, I think, to give Chesham United the lead.
Next stop, the league, and a small matter of a visit to St Albans. The date was the 13th of February, an omen maybe, for the thick fog that was later to envelope the ground. A massive crowd of over 3,000 flocked to see the battle between the leading two of the Premier Division. St Albans, given hope no doubt by Chesham's defeat at Stevenage the preceding Saturday, only their second league defeat of the season. This ended an unbeaten run amounting to a staggering 21 games. The thoughts of some of the personalities were expressed.
Here we are at Clarence Park. It's the top of the table clash, St Albans against Chesham. What are your thoughts going into this one?
I'm just very, very pleased that the pitch is in such good order after the pitches we've been playing on recently. We're going into this match with a full team of what I consider probably our best team, and I'm very confident.
Andy, on the threshold of St Albans versus Chesham United, top of the table clash, what are your thoughts coming into this match?
I wouldn't like to say how it's going to go. Our form dipped a little bit of late, but that's to be expected sometime during the season. We're looking to put it right today and get 3 points. A draw wouldn't be disastrous. Well, a loss wouldn't be, because there's still a long way to go, but we're certainly going for the 3 points.
There's a lot of pressure on you being the star striker for St Albans, really, isn't there?
I'm not sure about that. We've played well as a team, and I'm just there to finish off the moves, really. I don't mind if I don't score today as long as we win.
Is it really that important, this game?
It's as important as any league game. I mean, the lovely thing about it is that they're two local sides. There's a lot I mean, the football in this area at the moment is on a very high, a big high, and we're up with Barnet just down the road, top of Division 3. There's ourselves and Chesham at the top of Deodora, and there's obviously Wickham and Slough, which are just round the corner from us. So it's a very strong area at the moment for soccer. So, piece all that together, you've got a lovely cake here today, and hopefully we're going to bake it and bake it hot.
Coming up to the hour mark, and still it's St Albans 0, Chesham 0. Here's Dorwell with the corner. This is Rake. Trying to dink it in. Banton. Townsend! Yes, he's done it! And Chesham United have taken the lead in the gloom here at Clarence Park. Lifting quite appreciably. King, though, for St Albans. Useful cross. That's a superb goal from Steve Clark. Magnificent strike.
Things were clearer for the arrival of Sutton United a week later in the second round of the FA Trophy. The visitors were to set the tremors around Meadow Park. The warning signs had been there. A 3-1 win over St Albans in midweek had given Chesham a helping hand. Now they were to spoil any hopes of a potential double. A move of 7 passes started deep in their own half and set out their stall. The cross by Simon Quayle chested down and finished in style by Phil Barton. The team lying 5th in the Deodora League were relishing the opportunity of showing the leaders how it's done, but the team in claret and blue were having none of it, and in true fashion replied with this stunning second half goal. Banton with the instinctive turn and shot. Celebrations were short-lived when Paul Gates picked up the ball, laid it off to Thomas, who played a marvellous chip pass through to Richard Evans, who went one further with the finish. 2-1, and not long after, the build-up was different, but the result the same. This time, the scorer was Dominic Feltham. The winner's dressing room showed how prized was the scalp. As February drew to a close, the long-time league leaders played host to 12th place Aylesbury. Putting behind them the recent cup defeat, Chesham took the lead in the first half, with Tony Hopkins breaking free on the left before guiding an inch-perfect cross onto the head of Michael Bantam to score. Resulting from this clearance from the keeper, Aylesbury equalised after the interval, despite two fine attempts at saves by Andy Lomas. Chesham then surged onward. An awaited header from Bantam set up Mark Dalber to beat the advancing keeper, ensuring another valuable victory. The following Saturday, it was Marlow who were the visitors.
They had to give away a throw. Holmes. Byrne. Watkins. Shot coming in. He took a good stop from the goalkeeper, but he wasn't able to get there. And Paul Byrne has given Marlow the lead. Then with. It's never easy when you get to this stage of the season. Besides at this level having such small squads. But this is Webley, the new addition to Chesham United. First time he's really had a chance to set the crowd alight, and he's got a penalty. And there surely can be no real dispute with that. So a chance within 4 minutes for Chesham United to get back on terms here. Well, at the other end, of course, Andy Lomas has distinguished himself in no small measure this season from the penalty spot. But Chesham level in no uncertain measure. Great. Oh, took a good save, but it must be there. And Mickey Barnes following up. Watkins. Here's Holmes. This is Watkins, who scored one of the goals against PS Rugby. And now this is Townsend for Chesham. Oh, superbly done! And it's 3-1. is Bashir. And is that a penalty? It is! And another darting run from Nassim Bashir has produced another penalty. Cooper, I think it was, who made the tackle on that occasion. And a chance for Lee Costa to make it 4-1. And York lost it all too easily. Mikarenda found Watkins, and this is Glasgow. Kenny Glasgow now prepared to outpace the defence. He's done well here. Now, Caesar off the line by Barnes. The referee's whistle went. And it's a penalty now to Marlow. Now, Andy Lomas saved 8 in a row. And this time, David Lay has beaten Andy Lomas. David Lay with a textbook penalty, and there really is nothing you can do about that. Now, Caesar. Still Caesar. Penalty again, I don't believe it. Now that must create something of a record in itself. 2 penalties in the space of, what, 30 seconds. Within playing time of less than half a minute. It's now Lay against Lomas once more. And Lay picks exactly the same spot with exactly the same result.
Now in early March, those familiar steps carry the championship hopefuls to meet Yeading, residents of the lower half of the table. The 2 teams' previous meeting, late in September, ended in Chesham coming out on top by 2-1. This time, the victory was to be more emphatic. Number 7 Gary Cobb opened the scoring, seen here picking up the ball, unselfishly laying it off before turning up to poke in the rebound. The second goal wasn't long coming. The ball was played forward for Bantam to chase, who chested it down, saw off a defender and slotted home a neat finish into the corner. Chesham made it 3 in the second half. The clearance from Lomas was flicked on to Adebawali, who was drawn wide. The keeper failed to claim, and it's followed in from close range by Dave Webley. In midweek, Hendon were to fare little better. Chesham were now taking on all comers. Lee Costa provided the teasing cross to Michael Bantam's header, only to see Townsend make doubly sure on the line. Adebawali made it 2 in the second half, forcing this one where it belongs after being played through by Costa. The next goal resulted from a corner, with Townsend on hand to stab in the rebound, surely putting the match out of Hendon's reach. Finally, given room to come forward, a hopeful ball is played through to Andy Adebowale. The defender's thoughts are anyone's guess, whilst the resulting steamrolling challenge wins a penalty. An urgent attention for Dave Webley. Whilst Webley receives treatment from physio Anne Wheeler, Lee Costa sends the keeper the wrong way to make it Chesham 4, Hendon 0. Following their success in the Berks and Bucks Cup, the team of Claret and Blue changed to black and yellow for the away tie at Blackwall Heath. An offence committed outside the box. Costa shaped up to take the kick, and after some lengthy deliberations fired the shot against the wall, which took a wicked deflection past the hapless keeper. The second goal came when the loose ball was seized upon on the right and found Andy Adebowale, who steered his shot into the corner before orchestrating the celebrations. Inevitably, it seemed, there was more to come. Uncharacteristically, though, the long ball brought dividends, Townsend supplying the finish. The onslaught was to continue soon after, when the loose ball fell kindly for Townsend to eventually tee up Adebowale for his second. 4-0 on the night. A place in the final was the reward. Back to the league and back to Meadow Park, where Chesham played host to lowly Staines. However, it was to prove a tight match. The high ball was headed through for Townsend to beat his man and guide home the only goal of the game, keeping his team at the top ahead of near neighbours St Albans. The goal-scoring glories of previous matches seemed to dry up as Hayes, the one-time club of Cyril Regis, took centre stage. But as the title chase begins to hot up, a win in any fashion will suffice. Andy Adebowale here earned the valuable points to keep the chasing pack at bay. A waterlogged night at the close of March saw the goals return with the return of Sutton, this time in the league, reassuring the eager home support. The game was played in difficult conditions, for the heavy weight of fixtures and continuing rain taking its toll on the pitch. Bantam with the nod back across goal and Townsend firing home the opening goal. Soon after, a defensive mistake was seized upon, with a neat passing movement setting up Lee Costa to poke home the advantage. The next to follow was a stroke of misfortune for the visitors. A corner on the far side, sent goalwards by Steve Bantam, was adjudged by the referee to have been handled on the line. The team in yellow called for leniency, but the referee is in no doubt. Costa once more steps up to place the ball to the left of the keeper to make it 3. The score remained the same until the second half, when Costa played the through ball. The first shot was saved by the keeper, who was unable to deny Townsend his second. Savouring revenge for their FA Trophy defeat, Cheshire made it 5 soon after, Gary Attrell getting the touch. The sixth goal started way back with the ball in their own penalty area, Attrell providing the change of direction, the ball cut back from the byline and sweetly finished at the other end. Again, another good build-up sent Attrell away on the left. This was to result in the 7th goal. There was no doubt Cheshire were in the kind of form to take the championship. But on the 17th of April, there were different honours at stake. After seeing off Blackwell Heath in the semi-final, Cheshire were the visitors to nearby Aylesbury, where Abingdon provided the opposition. A packed house came to see an altogether more even affair, with the honours decided by a single goal. lacklustre clearance, played forward by Bateman. Adebawali with a touch to Bantam, for Townsend to prove how deadly he can be in the 6-yard box. One 0 was the final score. Captain Steve Bateman and goalkeeper Lomas was presented with the trophy, much to the delight of the loyal fans, a precursor perhaps of things to come.
We can't go out every week and listen, we can't go out every week and turn it on and play classic football. The important thing is that we fucking rolled our sleeves up and we dug in, we got the right results. Let's enjoy the night, yeah? Right, boys. I'm going to buy a round later on.
Wednesday, April the 21st, the end of the season drew ever nearer, with St Albans in close attendance. Not the time, it seemed, to meet third-placed Enfield, who rocked the boat with this strike, reminding the Leaguers of their fallibility, but recording only their third league defeat of the season. Fears were put to rest, though, on the 1st of May. Mid-placed Dulwich Hamlet were the visitors to Meadow Park on what was to be Chesham's glory day. Adebawali, a near-permanent fixture in the side, involved again early in the move. The ball laid inside to Attrell, who teed up for goal number 1. Dulwich pressed forward, Bateman tidying up, feeding Attrell. The lofted ball eventually falling to Attrell, who unselfishly surprised Andy Adebawali for the finish. It was a performance fitting of the champions, and an air of expectancy filled the ground as Mitchell nodded home to seal the fate of shell-struck Dulwich. Chesham finished the season in glorious fashion. Rarely troubled at the top of the league, they had cast off the shadow of St Albans. Never were there more worthy champions than these. Captain Steve Bateman lifted the trophy in front of a packed home crowd. A long and hard season had brought some stunning football, a bedazzling array of goals and ample reward for players and fans alike. Winning league titles, though, is not simply a product of playing entertaining football. It's about consistency, having the resilience of character to pull around lost causes and to snatch points from lesser performances. There was strength in depth from ever-present Andy Lomas through to towering Steve Bateman, through to the goal-poaching skills of Chris Townsend. Deserving heroes, one and all. Their enduring memory, though, will be the stylish and incisive football which in a glorious and remarkable season was to be the trademark of Chesham United.
No, mine's